everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Playing with Power podcast, the issue-by-issue retrospective on Nintendo Power Magazine. This episode, we are covering Volume 66 from November of 1994 with Donkey Kong Country on the cover. I am your host, Ben, and with me, as always, is my Canadian co-host, Mike.
How's it going, E?
And we are unfortunately missing John. He is out today. But filling in, we have a guest with us. Welcome, Clea Forkert.
Hello.
Did I say that right? Is it Forkert?
Yes, you got it perfectly.
All right,
that's very good.
All right.
Most people screw it up. So, kudos.
And if for our listeners, just to remind you of where you might have heard that word before, is back in Volume 63 from August of 94, we read a letter from a certain Clea Forkert from Kingston, Ontario. And, well, Clea, why don't you go ahead and read us your letter, if you don't mind?
Yeah, for sure.
And how old are you even when you wrote this?
I was 14 or 15. Yeah, so it's I guess that would have been grade 9 or something like that. Okay, so here we go. Hi, I'm one of your subscribers in Canada, and I just want to say that I love your magazine. I'm a pretty artsy person. I draw, paint, and do other things like that during my spare time. A few Christmases ago, when I got my new Super NES, I was so excited I decided to make some figures to go beside my Super NES. I thought it would be cute. Since it was during Christmas, I had lots of free time, so I started to sew a replica of Mario. After I was done, I created a whole clan of replicas of the characters from Super Mario World. Soon I had 14 figures to put beside my Super NES. Pretty cool, huh? I'm working on a Samus replica right now. And the picture is down there with my patchwork blanket.
It's awesome. No, it was awesome. I mean, we were just floored when we saw this. We're like, oh my gosh, these are great. These are like
we'd buy these.
Replicas. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I guess the internet didn't really exist for me at that point, and I don't think it did really. What year was it?
94.
Yeah, it wasn't
94.
around.
So
yeah,
I think it would be a year before the intrepid reporters on ABC would tell us what the internet is.
Yeah, exactly, which is nuts. But I didn't have access to what was available in Japan, what was available in the U.S., and I just really loved Mario. So I wanted to make my own toys because I didn't know where else to buy them, basically. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's what I did. I was obviously I obviously had a lot of free time on my hands, so yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, those are really nice looking. So did you continue with the building plushies? And
I did Star Fox and Slippy, and I did a Samus one.
Wow.
I also did from Clay Fighter. There was like a taffy.
Oh yeah.
A taffy character. Yeah, and I put I put wires in it so he could bend. So it turned into a big thing. I don't know where some of them are now, but it was fun, and I loved all these games because I just got so sucked into them.
Oh, that's Nintendo calling you for copyright infringement.
Oh yeah, for sure. But the funny thing is that I remember this woman from Texas called me. She got my name from Nintendo Power and called me and asked me if she could buy some of these. And, I wasn't that old. I didn't know what to do. And I didn't really have patterns for any of them because I just used a glue gun and I just started cutting out pieces. But I said I can't because these are all unique and I don't even know where to start if I needed to make another one. But that made me really happy. And of course, seeing this in the issue made me really happy. So
were you, what was your start with Nintendo? Did you get an NES growing up or Atari, or what was your start with video games, I guess?
I'd say that video games started on my dad's PC with King's Quest.
Okay.
And there was Heroes Quest somewhere along the line, which I never really finished that one, but I wasn't really sucked into video games the way I was with the Super NES. I didn't have a Nintendo. I played it at my friend's house, loved it, but Super NES was my first system, and Super Mario World was obviously the first game that came with it. Mm-hmm. And that just made me so obsessed with all the games that Nintendo published, I guess. There was Zelda and Metroid and I'm trying to think. Well, Star Fox as well. I loved all those games so much.
So you got the bug. You got the video game bug. Did you keep playing video games after the Super NES?
Yeah, I mean, I was a very diehard Nintendo girl for a really long time. I had a GameCube, and then I guess it was the 64. The Wii was the last system I had for Nintendo, and then I did the switch over to PlayStation, PS3. I did it. I finally bit the bullet, and I loved. I now have a PS4. I don't really play as much as I used to, but of course, working and everything, you can't really do that.
Oh, for sure.
But I'll say, like, it's harder to get as sucked into the games nowadays because they're so involving. They'll be like 30 to 60 hours, some of them. So, whereas Mario was an hour or two investments. Yeah, so still playing here and there.
Right on. And what about the art? Did you keep on with the art?
I wouldn't say I did.
No?
Well, which is kind of sad. I kind of would love to do something like that. Like when I look at these figurines that people make, like you go to I don't know, there's a place called Silver Snail in Toronto that has all these, action figures. And I'm like, wow, these are great. That would have been a really cool profession to be a part of. But I never pursued it. So, maybe one day.
You can open your own Etsy thing and we'll be glad to promote it.
You could.
Yeah, maybe I'll try one day. Who knows?
We would definitely love to see that Samus plush.
Maybe you guys, maybe I'll do it. I'll have to let you know.
Totally.
I just need to find another game to do this for. I wouldn't know what that would be.
Well, I guess Mario Odyssey, where you can have the hat with the eyes.
Oh yeah, that's true. That what? I think I will get a Switch at some point. I have to say the game's incredible. The new Zelda and Mario
Breath
Odyssey.
of the Wild looks fantastic.
It does. John has a Switch, but neither of us do.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's so difficult to find.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I thought that by now it would be better, but.
We're waiting for that Patreon to really come in so that we can afford to get them at scalper prices on eBay.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Okay. So what do you do today? Anything you want to promote?
Well, I have my own business, but I do run my own graphic design business, and that's my creative outlet. So that's my job.
And where can they find it? Or what do you offer? Ads or?
Yeah, I don't even I'm not really big on advertising my business because, I find that it's like word of mouth, but my website is CleaForkert.com, and I specialize in art books and branding and websites. And I worked in a studio for about 12 years and went out on my own 2 years ago. So it's still fairly new for me, and I'm still getting a feel for being my own boss and running my own business. But it's very exciting. So.
Congratulations! I don't think I could do the whole work for yourself kind of thing.
It's a little weird.
Well, I'd like to be able to just shut off at the end of the day, and be not working.
For sure, and that's it. You do get these anxiety attacks in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Where's my money going to come from? It's just always in flux. So.
That's why I do want to work for myself, so I can shut off and just give myself time off whenever.
Yeah.
Just be like,
yep, that's how it works.
Note to myself, I need to take an off day. Okay, you.
Well, so what do you guys do? I'm just curious. What's
for a living?
Yeah.
Oh, what's funny is I actually started off on the creative side, doing more website design, web development.
Oh, cool.
And I did a lot of Flash stuff, actually.
Oh yeah, Flash.
And but nowadays,
but then the law caught up to him, and then he had to quit that.
But here's the thing: is a lot of people do it. It's super competitive. It doesn't pay very well, unfortunately. So I moved over to IT, and now I'm more on the IT management side of things.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny. I always thought that web development would be quite lucrative, but.
If you're a rock star developer, yeah. But if you're just a front end type of guy, not really.
Right.
They're like, oh well, no, we don't need a custom design. We'll just use whatever out of the box template they can find. Kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's so available now with Squarespace and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure.
And as for me, I'm unemployed and looking for work or trying to make this my job.
Oh, that's amazing, though. That would be great.
Yeah, it would be.
It's a dream. It's nice to have dreams, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Before I shit all over him.
No, well, it's like, you see all these people on YouTube and making so much money with game-related stuff.
I know.
mean, like, you kind of wonder sometimes.
I keep telling him I don't think a Nintendo Power retrospective is gonna be the one that does it for him. I think it's too much of a niche topic.
That's why it's so great.
But the good news is that all those gamer guys are turning into racist assholes, so I just have to stay still and let all the guys in front of me blow themselves up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And I will eventually win by default.
Yeah, see? Just watch everything crash and burn.
JonTron, PewDiePie. I just gotta wait for the angry video game nerd to start talking about Somalians, and then I'm golden.
Jeez. But
it's true, though.
I mean, I will give some props. Mike has started another show, though. He's got a horror movie podcast going with another friend of ours, Sheldon Brown.
Nice.
Mike, you want to tell us about that a little bit?
Yep, we watch and review horror movies. We talk about the things we like, we don't like, and if we feel that there's something missing, we often do like our own deleted scenes that resolve a plot point. And we just gush or crap over a movie and crack jokes ranging from cute to, oh my God, he's really saying that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this show, but with a slightly different theme.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
All right.
And without John, so yay.
So yay. Nice. Very nice. All right, shall we go through the issue?
Absolutely.
All right, we've got, like I said, Donkey Kong Country in the cover, and they talk about being a whole new level of information. We've got Donkey Kong swinging down on a vine, reaching up there for a banana, and we've got Diddy right behind him, sort of giving nobody a high five in the air, about to jump on a snake, and then there's another giant snake in the background looking very worried for some reason.
That's a frog, though, right? Is that the frog?
Yeah, the frog is up.
It's a frog.
The snake is on the bottom.
I got
you. And he's not worried despite getting about to get stomped on.
Oh, okay. I couldn't see the arms.
Yeah. I feel like that's the guy that you ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was his name Toady or?
I have no idea.
Froggy?
Did he have a name?
Don't lick me.
Don't lick me. That'd be funny if it was Slippy from Star Fox. This is like a crossover character.
I love Slippy.
All right, and we've got a little tag on here that says, enter to win a Killer Instinct arcade machine. So I'm sure that's the Players Poll contest. So digging in here, on the inside cover, we've got the advertisement for Nintendo Power with a angry child, young man throwing a snowball right at the viewer's screen.
Yeah, I'm seeing touches of yellow in there, so I think he's going nuclear.
Oh.
He's going for the dirty snowball.
I'll just attribute that to the fate of the magazine before it was scanned. But yeah, he looks angry enough to do it, though. He does. I mean, he's really got some issues he's got to sort through.
I wouldn't put it past him.
And so this whole thing that they have on the right with this block of text talking about you've been decent this year, and for Christmas you should get what you deserve. And it says something that will cause your friends to curse you, hate you, and wish they could destroy you. And it says you deserve a subscription to Nintendo Power magazine. And they go on to talk about how great it is. So
I like how they say, like, you should get what you deserve, not bun hugger underwear, and not a year's worth of ballroom dance lessons.
Yeah. So that's great. They want your friends to hate you, apparently. That's just a weird message to give to people.
Maybe you are this reader, and that's why your friend's giving you the dirty snowball. Because you got Nintendo Power and you ain't sharing it, and he's like, all right, you want to be a little shit? I'll show you a little shit.
Lovely. All right. Next page, you've got it's a little advertisement here, and I've actually got the full copy. I should probably scan this into you guys for the Super Power Supplies catalog for winter 1994. They talk about getting it while it's cool, and there's a guy, I can't tell if he's on a snowboard and wearing a Killer Instinct photoshopped beanie.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot that this existed, the super supplies.
Yeah.
The super power supplies. Huh.
I just wonder why he looks like he's got the mumps.
Yeah, his tongue is like pressed up against his face.
Both of his
Very
cheeks.
intense.
So I like.
Very intense.
He's got chaw on one cheek and his tongue on the other. It's what you want on the slopes is a nice big old thing of tobacco to chew on. A fresh mountain air and some chaw on your cheek. Yeah, it's the style is a bunch of
Copenhagen, you deliver.
That's right. The style is a bunch of cut up pictures overlaid on top of each other. So, table of contents for Super Nintendo. This is what we're covering this issue. Donkey Kong Country, Sparkster, Earthworm Jim, Sports Roundup, Final Fantasy III, Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures, Super Adventure Island 2, Wild Snake. And then for Game Boy, we have Contra the Alien Wars. And then we also have special features on Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat 2, Illusion of Gaia, and an update on Space Invaders. And then down the bottom right, we have our Dick Nose boy wearing a hat that has a Game Boy on it. And apparently it's a real Game Boy because it's plugged into via a Game Link cable to a Game Boy in his hands. I don't know how he's playing against his own hat, but
it's the precursor to Mario Odyssey that you have like a living hat.
It's self-aware. No, this is how Skynet starts. Okay.
I think they wanted to relate to all the other 14-year-old boys who are probably playing with themselves. So
Yeah, exactly.
It's a secret message to them. Okay. Next section is the Player's Pulse. And at the top, we have the artwork is a bunch of tubes with a bunch of wires going through it. And there's colored fumes coming out of the wires, and then kids kind of looking anxiously at all of this. And it's all spelled
do you think that this was their first representation of the internet?
I thought it was a reference to sticky bombs for some reason. Like, look at all this weird, noxious stuff going on.
Does this change every issue?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
they have balloons, bricks,
right.
Other stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yep, these change out every issue. They're different every time.
Oh. Yeah.
All right, Mike, why don't you read us the first letter here from Andrew Holbrook.
From Norfolk, Virginia. He says, Secret of Mana is an outstanding game. Andrew, you're already my kind of guy. I'm glad that you have given extended coverage to that game. When I first played it, I thought it was like a cross between A Link to the Past and Final Fantasy II. That's a good combination. The fighting and moving about resembles Link, and the hit magic points, multiple characters playing at once, the large mysterious world and how the hero is banned from his home all resemble Cecil and his game. With this coverage, people who are having trouble getting to the Mana Fortress can see what's ahead and have something to look forward to. Players can also see the types of weapons and their strengths against enemies too. Secret of Mana is a very challenging game, and I think it's worthy of a strategy guide.
Clea, you want to take the next one here from Stephen Massenheimer?
Yeah, sure. I really love the expanded coverage on Secret of Mana. It's well written and the illustrations are top notch. I have only one regret though, and that's spending $15 on the official strategy guide. I've enclosed the actual receipt as proof of my stupidity. I don't need it anymore. What I'm really trying to say is your coverage is just as informative, even 1,000 times better.
Whoa.
Wow. So
yeah, that's the...
They should have put Andrew in touch with Stephen.
And then meanwhile, we've got an angry letter from Peggy Stone of Garden Grove, California, saying, I fully disagree with your editorial comment regarding how we should be enjoying our expanded coverage of Secret of Mana. What coverage? All you did was tell the story. You didn't give any help at all, with the exception of giving some information on 3 weapons. Whatever happened to dungeon maps? In this case, palaces, or maps of the overworld, etc. The Secret of Mana coverage, while nicely laid out, is very disappointing. And they responded to this one saying, one of our main goals when we decided to give extra coverage to RPGs was to turn readers on to the fact that RPGs are cool. In Japan, RPGs are the best-selling games, but here they fit into a niche market. Many great RPGs have recently been released and many more on the way. Final Fantasy III should please just about every RPG fan. Even though a Secret of Mana coverage was not totally revealing, we wanted to show our support for the game in the RPG genre by covering the game in more detail than a normal game review would. Okay, Mike, you want to take the next one?
Well, I'm looking here at the envelope art showcase. As always, they are fantastic. We get to see Mario and the genie from Aladdin playing NBA Jam with Ryu and Pat Ewing. And that is just amazing. And then we see this, I don't know what game this is, but we get to see this guy holding up a giant rock with these massive arms that are about 5 times his regular size. And then we get to see Kraid from Metroid and then Kraid from Super Metroid shit-talking each other, which is hilarious. And then we also get one with Ryu from Street Fighter, and I think it's Pit from Kid Icarus. And apparently Kid Icarus is in over his head, as, you know, the real Icarus was. He flew a little too close to Ryu, who's firing off a Hadouken at him. And then we get to see Mario twirling a basketball, looking all hip and fresh, while apparently he slam dunked a Koopa into the net, while Bowser's just face palming. Which, it's great to see all these things that are in the internet before the internet showed up. It's like, man, the face palm has always been around.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
And then we get to see what appears to be the precursor to Smash Brothers, with Sonic being about to get gang rushed by Kirby, Samus, Link, Mega Man, Mario, Yoshi, and Wario, who's rolling up his sleeves going, which is just fantastic. And then we get to see Mortal Kombat done with Taffy Monsters from Clay Combat. And then finally we get to see some, like if the guys from Mad Magazine drew Street Fighter, with some interesting artwork with Dulcim extending his arms around the entire envelope, apparently through Guile's hair. And Blanca's on fire with, who's the guy in the gray?
Ryu.
Oh, it has to say Ryu because it doesn't look like... And he's roasting a marshmallow over Blanca, who's on fire, which is pretty funny. So,
nice
all
touch.
in all, excellent artwork here. Mm-hmm. So, moving on to the next letter, Gerald W. Hawk from Richmond, Virginia says, recently, I was trying to get our 7-year-old son up to come to breakfast and get ready for school. I sat on his bed and told him that his breakfast was getting cold and he needed to get out of bed. He replied with his eyes closed, I want to finish looking at my dream. I asked what he was dreaming about. He said, Super Nintendo. I told him to turn it off and come to breakfast. He answered with his eyes closed, okay, just a minute, I still got 2 lives left.
Wow.
Nice.
Cute story.
Okay. Clea, you want to let me read the last one here?
Yeah, sure. I will be moving to New Mexico around the 15th of July. My best friend, Case Munson, gave me a going away present the night before he left on a trip. Case said he'd leave my present on the doorstep before he left at 5 a.m. I woke up to find his newest Super NES game, Secret of Mana, at my feet. He didn't even beat the game. He had 4 different quests, each named as part of a sentence. The names were, I will miss you. Thank you, Case. Is it C-A-Y-C-E? Casey? Case?
Casey, maybe.
Anyway, yeah.
His name should be Playa because he knows how to play. That's some prime game right there.
Yeah.
And there's a different photo here that's not related to the letters from Jonathan Robbins taking a picture with his Nintendo Power in front of the Mayan pyramids. So it's kind of cool. I just don't understand, like, what would what would come over someone that they want to take a picture with their magazine in front of a thing.
We saw in one of our earliest magazines, we had a grandmother holding up her Legend of Zelda box.
Yeah.
Not the game itself, just the box on the Great Wall of China.
Yeah, talking about how they love playing it.
That's so weird. It's kind of random, the way that they put that in there. I mean, I guess they like to have as much in there as possible, but it's kind of random. Anyway.
Yeah, they showed all kinds of stuff that has related to fanboyism of the magazine.
Yeah, so.
And then it's got a little blurb down here about the 1993 Power Awards contest winner. Maureen Wachowski from Guilford, Connecticut, won the Players Poll contest, which was 25 Super NES games of her choice. And you can see her standing there with a giant stack of games, and then a photo with they're all like framed around her face. So she looks extremely happy to have won 25 games. Good luck playing all those within a year for the next contest. All right, let's move on to our featured game here. Donkey Kong Country. All right, so let's talk about experience with this game. So, Clea, you said before we started recording that you just played this game a few days ago.
Yeah, I didn't finish. I got to the second world, and it's funny because I remember when this came out, just that 3D aspect of things was so cool. Like you'd never seen that before in any other game. I mean, at least I hadn't. So, but looking at it now, it's definitely, it hasn't aged as well. But like it still runs smoothly. It's fun. Very straightforward platformer type of game. I'm sure that like if I continued playing, it would have got way harder. But I just made it to the second world and then stopped.
Okay.
But I bought it right when it came out.
Yeah, this is one of those games where I really wanted to get it for Christmas and I didn't get it for Christmas. So
oh no!
I ended up buying it myself like the next year. But yeah, I was like totally nuts about this game. A friend and I played it for hours and hours and hours, beating the game eventually. Yeah. And I remember writing a letter to Nintendo Power. Didn't make the magazine, unfortunately. But about, hey, this is a great game. You guys should think about making another one. And they wrote back, and I thought I had this information that nobody else had. They're like, well, keep a lookout for the sequel, which is coming out, and it's going to have this and this in it. I was like, oh my gosh, you're making another one. I got so excited about it. Yeah, so I know that we talked about this a little bit before with the design of the game. So what they ended up doing was they got these huge computers in Rare's campus in England to pre-render all these 3D graphics. So they designed them in AutoCAD or whatever engine they had. They pre-rendered them, and they basically churned out all the sprites for Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, all the enemies, levels, all that kind of stuff. So, which was all 3D. So it's not a 3D game; it's all pre-rendered 3D, which is kind of unique. I don't think this has been repeated much past the Super Nintendo era. These few games, I think, was all it was used for. And it was sort of like a half step between Super NES graphics and then like full 3D graphics. It still looks better than like the 64 as far as 3D stuff goes, so it held up for quite a while. And how they got the graphics onto the system was they just shoved a ton of RAM into the cartridges to be able to hold all the graphics. So if you take a look at the behind-the-scenes marketing video, they show you the cart without the plastic, case on it, and there's just it's just chock full of memory. So they shoved as much as they could on the cart, and that's how they got all the graphics on it. So it's
That's
going
really
through.
Cool.
It's going through all the level coverage here. We've got it starts off in Donkey Kong's jungle hut. I don't know what you call it. He's got like a little tree house, and his hoard of bananas has been stolen, as we talked about, by King K. Rool and the Kremlins, who are like crocodiles. So your mission is to go get your banana hoard back, and that's basically it. So it covers all the main areas. You've got Congo Jungle, which is the first area. Monkey Mines, that's the second area, and that's probably the most difficult part of the game, is the mine area. Believe it or not. Then you've got Vine Valley, which involves a lot of swinging of vines. You've got Gorilla Glacier, which is all snow-related, so it involves a lot of slipping and sliding and jumping over bees and such. And you have Creme Croc Industries, Inc., which is sort of more industrial. And that's when you're in like the heart of the beast kind of thing. You're in the bad guy territory, and there's just a lot of, instead of just random animals and stuff you gotta get past, they're all like the baddies. And it's all kind of underground and seedy looking. Then you have Chimp Caverns, which is self-explanatory. And then finally, the last stage is not really a world, it's just a level. It's the Gangplank Galleon, where you fight King K. Rool himself. And hope that you don't die, because you have to then start over. So, Mike, what's your experience of the game? You've been relatively quiet for this one.
Well, I had a bit of a Skype glitch, so it just sounded like you were talking through a wind funnel in slow motion. So,
oh, that's nice.
But my experience with Donkey Kong was, I have saw the coverage in the magazine, thought I'd rent it, friggin' loved it, and I needed the magazine explicitly to eventually beat King K. Rool, because that guy was a bit of a challenge. Well,
Yeah.
the whole, like, many parts in the game were a challenge. Like, it is not something where you just, like, you rent it in a single weekend and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot to learn here. But it looks beautiful and sounded great. So it was like one of the best Super Nintendo experiences I've had.
Wow.
And there's a lot of secrets that you can find in this game. I mean, it's just chock full of like little secret areas that you can trigger. Real kind of old school style of, you find a secret entrance over here, or you jump on this thing over there. And so there's sort of like these little bonus stages all over the place to get you more bananas, lives, etc., to keep you going. So if you wanted to collect a whole bunch of stuff in this game, if you like collecting things in a game, then man, it has more than you can handle. And
Yeah, I remember there was one level. Now that I'm looking at these screen caps, there's one level in the ice, the Gorilla Glacier world, and it was you're firing through a lot of barrels, and it's snowing really hard. And I think that one took me like a couple days to finish.
Yeah, you get the timing just right because it's like a barrel's like spinning, right? And you're inside it, and you got to press a button to fire it up at the right angle to get across something.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are super stressful level. Like my palms are like sweating just like thinking about it.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, exactly. It's not an easy game, and going back and playing with it and prep for this, the one thing I find that doesn't hold up well, and this is like my opinion of most sort of 2.5D platformers, is the edge detection is weird to figure out. So if you're all the edges have like this nice curve to them, they're rounded off. It doesn't look like a flat corner, 90-degree corner like it does in like a Super Mario game. But it makes it harder to determine if you're going to land on it or not. You try to judge your jumps and whatnot appropriately, and sometimes you don't get that edge detection and you just fall down. And it's just one of those learning curves that's kind of frustrating until you kind of figure it out. So that's one of those things where I don't think the game holds up very well. And then obviously the graphics are all raster, so they don't scale very well either. So looking at a giant HD, HD TV, not HD TV, it doesn't hold up as well because you can see all the pixelation.
Yeah, that's how I was playing it recently too. So didn't have the same magic as it did before, but I'm sure on my very old television set it looked much better.
Yeah. The flaws aren't as evident on the older screens.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yeah. Was there anything else you want to talk about with this game?
Sure. I had encountered when I was, I still am big on finding mashups, which is, people take like 2 or 3 or 4 different musical tracks and put them together into one song. And one guy who goes by the name Norwegian Recycling made an entire album of Donkey Kong country music mixed with like pop and top 10 and rap and hip hop music. And it's called Donkey Business. And it's got the jungle theme mixed with the Wild Wild West. Eminem's Without Me mixed with the Brothers Bear music. The Life Balloons with I Wish I Was a Little Bit Taller. As like the way you are mixed with the Blast Barrels music. Then like other tracks called like Runaway Dixie, When Diddy's Gone, Billie Jean Kong. Jeez. Which is very creative. Which is like nice 3 or 4 puns. And then Irreplaceable mixed with the ending music. So nice. It's just really, it's worth checking out. It's very well done.
I was so into this game at the age that I put I know Mike had like the perfect setup, but I wasn't that technical at the time. I took like my stereo, which we could record on cassette tapes, put it next to the television, and recorded like all the music onto my own like cassette tape, and like, made artwork for the cover of it. And then I would go like on school trips and whatnot and listen to that on the headphones on the bus rides.
Yeah. That's amazing. I wish I had thought of that before.
Yeah, I didn't do that for many games. 'Cause I just had to sit there and wait for like the song to end, and I figured out, okay, I'm gonna let it go for like 3 loops or whatever. Then I'm on to the next one, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I only did that for a few games. I did that for like Mega Man 2 and this one and like another one, I think.
It'd be cool to see what you did on the cover. Sorry.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I have to find it somewhere. It's in a box, I'm sure, in my garage.
Yeah, what I did with Secret of Mana was something like that, except I just took the audio cables straight from the Super Nintendo or from the TV and plugged them right into a tape deck so that there'd be no like echo or room distortion, just straight from the unit to the cassette tape. And I recorded like themes and battle music from different video games like Final Fantasy and Secret of Mana. I even hooked it up to the computer and got stuff from Command and Conquer. So nice. I had a sweet little video game mixtape.
Wow.
It was high quality cassettes.
Yeah, you had a legit setup. So, all right, let's just cover
I had no reason to talk to anybody on that bus.
So we talked about some of the helper characters you can ride on. So we talked about Rammy, the rhinoceros. He rams things. All right. So the name of the frog, I finally discovered it, is Winky.
Oh right.
Winky is the name of the frog.
Winky.
And then
yeah.
The swordfish is, I thought it was Engard. It's Engard. And then you have the ostrich, and that's Espresso. Is the name of the ostrich. Can we talk about the bad Donkey Kong though? They call him Manky Kong. Have you seen this in Ice Age Alley in pages 16, 17?
Yeah, I'm looking at him.
The first page I'm looking at the bird, and the ostrich has sneakers.
Yeah. Well, he runs fast. That's his thing. He doesn't fly.
Yeah, so Manky Kong, a cross between mangy and skanky. Manky Kong hucks barrels for a living.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So you have to fight your own kind. There's discord in the ape when there's discourse in the ape world.
He looks like a less evolved version, like a caveman version, you know.
And the Neanderilla.
Yeah, Neanderilla. That's it. All right, I had nothing else for Donkey Kong Country. Ready to go on to the next game?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, moving on to Sparkster. Mike, tell us about Sparkster.
Oh, this game, it's a mix between like Sonic the Hedgehog and Ghouls and Goblins. Which sounds great, but it hits this one impossible wall very soon. Like we see here to the ship, and also like the controls are very weird. Like you can only jump straight up and straight down. Like you can't like stand near a ledge, jump and think like, oh, I'm gonna get to it. Until I figured out like the shoulder buttons makes you like do like a little burst in midair. So you can't like fall to the side. You have to like blast to the side, which means you can overshoot some things.
So it's a possum that is a legion of Rocket Knights. So he's the champion of the Legion of Rocket Knights. He is a possum. This is very much in line with the other sort of animated characters doing platformers of the early 90s. He's got like a rocket ship goggles and like full suit of armor and a blade.
Yeah.
He's got a sword.
It's the beginning doesn't have any words, and I didn't get to read Nintendo Power in advance. So I just started, and it's really weird because it shows this princess standing on top of this castle roof, and the king is like throwing his arms up and sweating profusely like he's angry, and he's charging at her, and I'm like, what is she gonna like being threatened by her own father? And then the spaceship shows up above, beams her up, and then the dad like turns red, and I'm like, is he jealous that like somebody sniped his kill? I'm like, what's going on?
All right.
I'm just going to run to the washroom, guys. Just 1 second.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first one, you get to, it's also got like the same Castlevania syndrome where you can never clear an area. Like if you try to stick around, you try to stick around and like gather all these jewels to get an extra life, and these things will constantly come from the side and just like charge the shit out of you. And then you come across this boss Mechanape, which is too high to jump over, and he just like swings his limbs all over the place. So you are always going to be taking damage.
So do you shoot something out of your sword, or is it just slashing? Do you jump on things?
You slash your sword, and it like shoots like halfway across the screen with like a swipe. So it's like you're like throwing air slashes.
I got you.
At
Wind.
the enemies.
You hit it with wind.
Yep, you're breaking wind.
Oh, lovely.
So the first boss, which looks cool and fights kind of neat, is the Golden Ghoul. And that's when you get on top of the ship and he like bursts through the ship, which is like a great strategy for a kingdom to like have your weapon smash through your other weapon to attack something small. Mm-hmm. So you end up beating this guy by like slashing his eye. And then the second stage, you end up fighting this creepy crane, which is like a big like scavenger bot at the bottom of this scrap pile. And he's hard because depending on what he grabs, he will either grab a gun and shoot at you, which you can like jump above and under and like throw slashes at him, or he will just like grab this thing and start spinning it wildly like a pair of spiked barbells, and then you're dead because he will always be waving up and down too high for you to jump over. And if you to like miss your window to like slide under, then he will just close in against the screen and just friggin' smash you to pieces. And then you go across this weird level, which is fun but incredibly frustrating, where you just run along this mess. You get on this ostrich mech, and then it just takes off at like friggin' Roadrunner speeds and just tears across this massive landscape, up mountains, across bridges, through a quarry, until you come across this one guy who's got this weird, it looks like he's like sitting in the head of a praying mantis robot thing. Mm-hmm. And he just charges at you. And it took me a good 20 minutes to figure out how to beat him. Then you face this thing called a Mechanopede, in which case you just like throw slashes and just tear him apart by breaking up his body. And then final stage for me was on the sea, where you have to hit this room that constantly floods. And it was the last thing they cover here, and they don't even tell you how to beat it. It's just that you end up getting pushed, you run across this chamber, and then it bursts. A wall of water comes after you, and then it just throws you into a wall of spikes. So you have to like dash as quickly as you can to jump up, and like what's those things in submarines that stop water?
Hull?
Like deadlocks or something. Like water gates or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Doors.
Yeah. So then the seal closes behind you,
Portholes.
And then immediately bursts as soon as it seals. So like it gives you really next to no time to run, because as soon as the door closes, you think, okay, this gives me a minute. No, it gives you 0.002 seconds. And then it bursts, and then you've got the same wall pushing into another wall of spikes. And you do this about 4 or 5 times. It's like somebody played the Quickman level of Mega Man and thought that laser scene could be a little more fucking challenging.
Not hard enough, huh?
No. Apparently they just thought, this is child's play. I only beat it in 2 days. We need something that'll make these people last on this game. And it did not last on me. I was on it for about a good 45 minutes of trying to figure out, even with save states, like get past the one chamber, save, and then dash, and then but the last one, it just keeps getting like quicker and quicker. And it's like, I cannot even keep up with this. This is like someone just decided we've already combined Sonic and Ghouls and Goblins. So how about we take one level and we'll just combine Quickman from Mega Man and the tunnel scene from Battletoads. Let's just do that, because we hate our fans, and they wonder why the Sparkster franchise never took off.
I mean, I never heard of it before, outside of this magazine, but I have played the ROM a little bit. It plays pretty well, and the graphics are really good.
You didn't get to that point, though, did you?
Yeah. Well, the graphics are really nice. Obviously, didn't get that far in the game. I played it for like 2 minutes tops,
Yeah, it's like Batman. It's like The Dark Knight. You either die a good game or you live long enough to realize it sucks.
Nice. Do you remember Sparkster at all, Clea?
No, I'd never even heard of it. But it looks like a game that I would have been into. Mm-hmm. Although difficulty, I feel like at that point in my gaming life, I just wasn't very good in general. So like maybe I would have given up quite early. Like games like Super Ghouls and Ghosts, I didn't make it past like the second level. So this might have been too hard for me. Not sure, but it looks very cool. It looks very, very cool.
You play those games and think, you look so good, you play so good, why you gotta do me dirty?
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Nice looking game, though. Yeah.
Let's move on to the next game. They're giving us another preview, so it's still not coverage, I don't think, of Killer Instinct. So it's talking about the arcade game coming out and telling us, for some reason, the top right it says Ultra 64 exclusive, which is not true. I want to correct that since Mike and John did not. Killer Instinct came out for the Super NES and later came out for the N64 as Killer Instinct Gold. So I don't know why they said it's exclusive to the Ultra 64, but that's not true.
I like the fact that they're giving us arcade controls, which the Ultra 64 did not have.
Yeah, they're talking about the arcade machine still and telling us about moves you can do.
They know they're a Nintendo magazine, right?
Well, this is technically a Nintendo game. It's a game made by Rare but published by Nintendo for arcades and then ported over for their two systems. So I don't have a lot to say about the coverage here. It's just sort of giving you some really basic tips about various characters. But when we talked about game music, this is one game where I actually purchased the CD from the Game Supplies catalog.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think I might have done that too. My memory is a little foggy on that, but the music was pretty cool.
It's all like electronic music that has like no vocals to it. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, I don't know, it was fun to listen to even outside of the game.
Yeah.
So we'll get to more coverage on this when it comes out for the Super NES, I'm sure. Let's move on to the next game here. It is the only Earthworm Jim. So Earthworm Jim is a property of Shiny Entertainment, and I can't remember the guy's last name, but I think his first name is Doug, who created Earthworm Jim, and he basically did it out of spite, I think, because his wife hated him.
Oh, come on, give us more.
Yes. I just remember seeing some interviews with him from the cartoon where he's like, anything my wife doesn't like, I know will be popular with the kids, so that's why he has a Snot as his like sidekick.
Oh my God, was this the same guy behind Booger Man?
I don't know, maybe. He was like a comic book artist basically, and came up with the concept, and I think he must have sold the idea to Shiny Entertainment, and they made a couple of really good games for both Super NES and Genesis, same game on both. And you've got basically an earthworm landed in a super suit, and it's this really buff, muscular suit, and you've got a worm sticking out of it with big eyes and teeth. And this game is fun to play through, and one of the first things you can do is try to fire off your gun. And he fires it off like a movie hero would do, with just unlimited ammunition in all directions. And Jim has this really, angry-looking face, like he's shooting at the air. And there's all kinds of clever comic book style animation in here. It's all very humorous. And one of the first things that you can do in the game, and they show you here on, I think it was page 29. There is a fridge hanging over a ledge, which just happens to have a large tree limb sticking out, and the other end of the tree limb is a cow. So if you manage to shoot just right and to make the fridge fall on the tree branch, you can send the cow flying into the air. It's this big
Cow tipping got nothing on this.
Mm-hmm.
All the cool kids are now cow launching.
Yeah. And then one of the other things you can do is you can climb on ropes and chains and stuff using your head as sort of like a monkey's tail would. And so he can still shoot and whatnot using his hands while using his head to swing, which is a really cool animation and concept. And what else is cool about this game? All the art looks very comic book slash cartoon like. They even had a cartoon of Earthworm Jim, which was hilarious, and I loved it. And I could even recite the theme song for you if you wanted me to.
Oh yes, because I remember that, like, Earthworm Jim.
From the soil he did crawl, Earthworm Jim, a super suit to crawl. And then it goes, what? Jim was just a dirt-eating blah, 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 blah. But all that can crew a crashing end. Earthworm Jim. He's such a silly guy. Earthworm Jim. Our hero for all time.
It's pretty good.
Very
That's
zany.
great.
It is a very zany cartoon. This whole thing is
like
wacky.
Yeah, like we get to see it in one of the first close-ups of Jim. Like, you just think, how would a worm stay in his suit? Like, again, like, why would a worm have arms or anything? And then you get to see, like, right at the beginning, you see his face. And in the neck of the suit, you see his body is, like, all wrapped up in a bowl. Mm-hmm. So it's like his body is telepathically controlling the rest of the suit. Mm-hmm. Which is all just, like, this is a weird hell of a game. with fantastic artwork. Like, there's a guy, like a redneck with a beard of slime. And it is, you can see, like, fish bones in, like, his slime beard while he's gnawing on a drumstick. And he's got hair that looks like freaking tree branches coming out of his shoulder.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty gross.
Yeah, and then we get to see a cat who, like, it's like the artist here was definitely inspired by Tim Burton.
Yeah, I mean, they go through all the levels. The concepts for the characters are awesome. I like the one that has the fish in a bowl. It's just a big goldfish in a bowl that's being carried around by a cat that looks like a big, beefy zombie cat. I mean, it's just really creative. And it's fun to play. If you haven't played it, it is challenging. It's not terribly forgiving. So good luck getting through the game. It's still fun to play, though.
Down the Tubes has names like Jim Cousteau, Hepcat, and the boss is a hamster.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought that was the boss. It says you can ride the hamster.
Oh,
it says take a special kind of hero to ride a giant rodent bareback, and Jim fits the bill.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. So where is the boss on this thing then?
That's the cat with the fish in the bowl with the cat.
Oh yeah, like the catfish master blaster combo.
Yes. That's it. And then what's this snot a problem? You fight a giant snot booger?
With a buzz cut.
Maybe maybe I'm remembering the sequel that has Jim wears a backpack at some point that has his faithful sidekick Snot that acts like a parachute. That must be in the sequel I'm thinking of.
These inserts are great. Like, you get to see, like, one that's just like Jim's eyes, and just an allusion to what the boss is. You get to see these massive cat eyes. Mm-hmm. Like, just to let you know that Jim's a little out of his league. And then, like, there's one boss or guy who's just got Jim in his teeth. Like, Jim got.
Yeah. So it looks like they're gonna go more through the later levels in the next issue. It looks like we get to talk about Professor Monkey for a head.
Oh, and the reason that the snot guy has a buzz cut is because his name is Major Mucus. So he's military phlegm.
Major Mucus. Nice. All right. Let's go to the midway points, which is the fold-out poster for Demon's Crest, coming soon to your PS from Capcom.
Well, there's like, this isn't like halfway mark. This is like 1/3 mark.
The 1/3 mark?
Yeah, because we're at like 40 pages out of 120.
Oh, well, true.
Unless you want to cut it off here anyway.
This is. I mean, I always think that the poster is a good place to do it, but we can do it after the sports team if you like, because I don't have a lot to say about it.
Okay.
Let's talk about Demon's Crest, though, first. So, Demon's Crest, I think, is the 3rd or 4th game in the series. Oh, gosh, I'm not remembering. Gargoyle's Quest.
Yeah.
It's the same series, but now it's for Super NES coming to you from Capcom. I don't know why they don't keep the same numbering or naming scheme. It's just one of those things for marketing, I think. It's like, well, no one knows that game because it's for Game Boy. You know, how are they going to have to know to play the first one or the second one that was for Nintendo? Just rename it. Even though it's the same character and level design.
I guess it's like the first one for each system.
Yeah.
Like Gargoyle's Quest was for the Game Boy. Gargoyle's Quest 2 was for the Nintendo, and now Demon's Quest is like the first game for the Super Nintendo. So,
right.
I guess that's like their reasoning for not numbering them.
I guess, yeah.
The Nintendo one was good though. That was a fun game. So I'd like to see if this one measures up.
They're all good. I mean, I haven't played this one, but I mean, it's Capcom platformer. You can't really go wrong.
I can't remember this at all. I feel like so it's just this character that is the main character, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the poster though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a decent platformer. You can glide and grapple onto edges, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's got some RPG elements to it as well.
Huh.
All right, so we'll go through the sports scene and we'll cut off the halfway mark here, we'll call it. So John's not here, so I'm going to have to fumble through here for the sports scene from Lousy Ball. Or Lousy Ball? Lousy Ball is our author here telling us about we got NBA Live 95 from EA, which is one of the first NBA Live games. That series is still going on today. And this is because EA got the license for the basketball games at some point. And meaning they only can make NBA games at a certain point and shove everyone else out. So isn't that great? You limit your options. And they have a fake ad in here for the Air Hydraulic, which is a tennis shoe that has hydraulic parts in it. And it's got a kind of machinery. It's through a cutout basketball shoe here, saying, soar above the competition. Patented pneumatic lift assist springs will rocket you to the basketball stratosphere. Not responsible for ceiling damage.
Or concussions.
Yes.
Cute.
Well, they got to catch up to football in the concussion quota, so this is how they did it.
NBA Live, again, is the one that has the isometric angle, which is never popular. It's always confusing to play. So I would say avoid that. Get NBA Jam instead. Moving on for racing, we've got, let's see here, Michael Andretti's IndyCar Challenge, a racing game, which uses the Mode 7 graphics and has a nice little intro that goes around all the cars in kind of a 3D view. And you can play it 2 players. So it's got I'm sure, a career and a versus mode. And it's got 16 racetracks. So if you like F1 racing and you like Super Nintendo, well, this could be for you. And they have a fake advertisement here for the IndyCar Yoshi. And it's a sticker. It says sticks right to your
cups.
Sticks right to your F1 windshield to block out all those annoying other drivers.
And those pesky walls.
So you can't see? Is that what the deal is?
Yeah, I guess it's like blinders for a horse.
But it's all, you can look at the car, it's like in the front, like you can't even see forward. Terrible idea.
It absolutely is. And then for then we get to see Blades and Pucks. When you talk about Street Hockey 1995. I don't know. If it's got no leagues, I don't see it really going anywhere.
Oh my gosh, the graphics on this, it's literally like someone took a picture of like a parking lot and then put sprites on top of it. They'd say street hockey, they're talking about street hockey.
And we get to see a beautiful comic saying, hey, figure skater boy, you sure can skate. And then you like, it's like in those same Charles Atlas things where like some guy gets bullied and then you work out and then you end up being the bully because, that's how advertising works. Vengeance is the best medicine. So we get to see the 90-pound weakling getting palm slammed in the face. And his girlfriend says, "Hey, that was a cheap shot." He's like, "Oh, quit it. That hurts." And the guy's like got like a helmet on for some reason saying, "Hey, shut up, you little hockey punk." And then it shows him kicking over like a can or something. And he goes, "Gosh darn it, I've had enough of playing inline hockey by the rules. This book, Cheap Shots Made Easy, should get me a goal for sure." And then like reading a book on dirty playing has somehow buffed him up completely. And now he's real Charles Atlas again saying, "All right, now I'm the new bully on the court." And then it shows him slamming a guy in the throat with a hockey stick while his girl's on a blanket on the ice or something, or on the street, just looking and smiling. And he's like, "Choke on my cheap shot, sucker. Who's laughing now?"
It's dark.
This is beautiful.
It is dark.
This redeems the whole hockey section.
We did pass by, I wanted to mention Al Unser Jr.'s Road to the Top. And the reason why it's interesting, it's a racing game, but you basically follow Al Unser's career starting with go-karts and moving your way up to real cars. So it's pretty interesting. You can drive different cars, including go-karts, in that game. And then for football, they're talking about ESPN Sunday Night NFL, but they basically say it's not as good as the Madden game. Madden NFL 95, the Madden series is sort of the football game that NFL fans like to play. So get that one instead.
They really could have used NFL Jam. That would have been a good series. That would have been a nice game.
Speaking of NBA Jam competitors, we've got a game called Jam It from Virgin Games, where it's a street basketball game. Graphics look okay, but it is not NBA Jam, so avoid. And then we've got another racing game, which looks like, is this bikes? Like bicycles or motorcycles? I can't tell.
Yeah. The guy's legs aren't uniform on the ground, so it looks like he's like pedaling instead of just like resting.
This is called.
Yeah, you'll find yourself pedaling furiously over rough 3D courses. Yeah, I'll say rough. It's rough to look at. It says you must defend yourself from the other riders as well, and there's a punching option that turns the cup into a brawl. The Tour de Grunge.
Yeah, I've got let's see here. It's called Cannondale Cup. And it's got all kind of wacky writers. I can't read that far down. Can you zoom in, Mike, and tell me what those players are you can play as?
Mystery, Mark Gullickson, Frank Roman, Missy Grove, Tinker Juarez, Miles Rockwell, Allison Sidor, and Mountain Demon.
It's just literally a demon, the green demon. That's nice.
Yeah, it's like Major Mucus got into the real world.
And the first guy is kind of like the Stig, but for bicycling.
And Miles Rockwell's basically Batman if he if Bruce Wayne had to become a bike courier.
This is such an odd game. I feel like you need to play it for the taste test. All right, let's go ahead and end our halfway mark here. I want to thank Clea for taking the time to be with us on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And so you can tell, you can reach out to her if you want to, CleaForkert.com. You can find all of her art and business there. And if you'd like to support us, you can find us on Facebook.com/PlayingWithPower and reach out and message us. You can go to iTunes and leave us a review. Just search for Playing with Power Podcast, and we'll appear. You can also go to our website and find old issues on playingwithpowerpodcast.com. And if you'd like to support the show and become a Patreon donor, you can do so at patreon.com/playingwithpower. You will be eligible for Patreon exclusive content, including just released the Beer Kart special, where myself, Ben, John, and a friend of ours, Dan, are drinking heavily and playing Mario Kart. So you can enjoy that if you're a Patreon donor. And you can also find Mike at GetThePower88 on Twitter. And Mike, what else you got?
Well, we got the Graveyard Shift, which is the aforementioned horror movie podcast where we watch amazing horror movies and then we gush about them, do like a little like, dislike. We talk about the production notes, interesting trivia, and then maybe we do a little skit or two, and we talk about like our favorite kills. It's a nice little commentary on the horror film genre as a whole, and that's at the Graveyard Shift Horror with Sheldon and Mike. Because there's a couple of other places called the Graveyard Shift, but they don't update, just like they're playing with Powers. That don't update, and yet they're still beating us in the iTunes rankings. So I'm trying to figure that out.
I don't think the iTunes search engine optimization works.
Now they should add something called the relevance algorithm, where
I know.
if they're not updating, then just assume they're dead or at least slow.
Right. Yeah.
And reward us for being frequent.
Google has it right. They've got their search engine criteria right, but I guess you would expect them to have it right. Oh, by the way, I know Clea doesn't want to hear about this part, but I have a bone to pick with you, sir. So now, reportedly, the Graveyard Shift, they've only, 5 episodes in? They've already been sent 2 topless photos from fans. Okay, I've been doing this for 2 years almost for Playing with Power. Not one email with any photos. No, not one.
Not even a dick pic.
Not even a fat guy with man breasts. So let's making us look bad now. They've gotten 2 already.
We haven't even been out for a month and we've already got 2 groupies.
I know. What the hell?
Which is, hey, I finally nailed a good idea for a show.
I think it's the horror movie thing. I think that's what it is. It attracts that type of listenership.
If you build it, they will take their top off.
Instead of, yeah, apparently. I don't. I'm still waiting. All right. Challenge out to all our fans. There you have it. Lay it down. If you want to email us, playingwithpowerpodcast@gmail.com. We'll appreciate it. All right. Thanks for listening. I'm Ben.
I'm Mike.
And now you're playing with Power.
Entertainment system. Now you're playing with power.